Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, and you are happily tuned in to the I'm Making It Happen radio show. With exception, yours, Nykole Tyson, on 103.5 FM. And we are here on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And on I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges. And that's allow us to realize that we have the power to improve and maneuver every and any situation that we encounter. And today, guess what? Guess who's your guest? Me, Nykole Tyson, right? And sometimes I'm very happy to connect with you directly and have either a monologue or a dialogue. So hopefully it'll be a dialogue, but I do have some things, as you know, at times I want to share with you that I'm thinking about. And today I'm just going to share some of the observations I've been making as I traverse the island as we enter the summertime. And let's give some updates. But before we get into the details, definitely want to say good morning to everyone in the USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts, Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean. Thanks so much for tuning in, as well as all those listening live on reefbroadcasting.com from the East to West Coast. Good morning to you and anywhere you are in the world. And to those watching live on Facebook at I'm Making It Happen, thanks so much for tuning in. And so you can tune in at I'm Making It Happen and see me live and direct. Please do like and share if you are on the live. Good morning. And join me if you aren't at I'm Making It Happen on Facebook. And so, as I mentioned, I'm going to be speaking on some observations that I have noticed as we have, as I've been going around the island. And it's interesting because I live on the more eastern part of the island, and so I don't go west as much. And I've been west a couple times this week and last week because I'm making it a point to do so. And I've seen a lot of different things, good things and other things that can be improved. But great things. There, the highway. Saw some repairs. The part of the highway is the East Airport Road, looking great. And then some just other things. Let me think. What else did I see that needed to be mentioned? It just seems like, the infrastructure is improving. Roads, there's some other areas that need improvement, of course, but I see things are progressing. I have also been making it a point to go to the beach. So, it's time, summertime, gotta get away from, it's cold, the beach. Well, for me, I don't usually go in the water when it's cold during our winter time. But the water has been cold, but I've been making it a point to still go in the water because that's something that we have at our fingertips. That is definitely a privilege that we have of being here in the Caribbean. So I'm making it a point to be in the water more. I know there's individuals that call in to Mr. Williams' show many times, and they always are in the water. It doesn't matter what time of year, right? And so I'm looking forward to joining that group of being in the water all year round. And just for an insight to you, right? So one thing has helped me to be able to get in the water, even though it's cold. I'm like, why is it so cold still? But I take cold showers in the morning. And so I'm just like, just in my head, I'm like, this is just going in the cold shower. So the cold showers wake me up in the morning. That's just a little insight to me. And then in the evenings, it's more like a warmer shower. But so yeah, I just been thinking about that. And that has helped me to be able to go in the water it's still cold. And so I've been on the beach. I've been making a point to work out on the beach. And then, of course, you can't be on the beach and not go in the water when you're hot. That's the best thing to do is cool yourself down. And so I'm in West at Dorsch Beach. I'm running. And then what do I see? I see dogs tied to a tree. And the dogs are lunging at me. I'm on the beach by myself. And these dogs are lunging. It looks like if they were to, of course, if they were to break that chain, they're going to come. What are they going to do? Of course, they're going to attack me. So, like, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. However, I've done it run the beach a couple times, and yeah, those dogs are very sound seemingly vicious because of how their behavior is, and trying to lunge or break that chain that they're on. So that kind of makes me it makes me hesitant to proceed in that area, which I don't feel like it should be. Now I've looked into those individuals who have those dogs tied to the tree. It's past it's going towards the pool. And of course, there's a camper there. I'm gonna get more information on that later on. I have already made contact with some of the departments about it, and I'm still looking into it. But the camper there, it is owned. That is property owned by individuals. But I want to know, why are they are they allowed to have those dogs on the beach like that? Because I feel that that's a safety issue for people traversing the beach. Another concern that I had, just a couple feet down from that area where the dogs are, very near to the water, is seems like somebody squatting down there. I want to know, is that allowable? Can people just squat on the beach and make it their home? So that was another concern of mine that I saw. And then I think, was it that same day? And then that same morning, I'm about to leave, finish with the beach, running, going in the water, finish with the water, coming out. Then I see somebody urinating right in front of me. Okay, not in the bush, Emil, not in the bush, not on the side, right next to the car at the road. When have we been? Is that allowable? Like, what is going on? And I was at the beach with somebody else, and we're just like I was staring at them, because you obviously want somebody to look at you. If you're doing this in public, you're not even trying to hide yourself. It's right there by the road, by their car. And I did not turn away, because I'm like, no, this is ridiculous. So I want to speak on those couple things. Before I get into those topics, so there's those three things. It's the dog on the beach, is that allowable? The dogs. Okay, the camper is allowable, right? Because they're about to build. But the dogs that's there, they're close that can, harm somebody if they are able to get away or break away from the chains. It's about 4 dogs, and I think about 2 or 3 of them are pit bulls. Then it's a squatter. And then the other thing was the person relieving themselves in public. And as a male, not when the males have been, I've never seen a guy do that on St. Croix. Usually you see them on the side and go and try to have some privacy. This was not the case. One of my other things I want to talk about today is also the increasing numbers of young men appearing mentally distressed in our streets. And the numbers are growing. Every day I'm seeing some new young man walking, and it's from east to west. It's very, very concerning. So my question is, so I have a couple questions regarding that. And I'm feeling that they might have a similar, what's the word? They all have a similar source. I might be wrong, but I do want to mention, I'm open to any feedback. Oh, let's see. On this, because from the time, from like, it's just a couple months that I've been seeing more and more young men from east to west. And when I was a kid, it was only one person in east and one person in west that you would see, like, homeless or whatnot. But this is more than I just think that they're homeless. I think that they're all consuming something, that that's all having an effect on their mental state. So I'm going to talk about mental health versus substance abuse, and our families getting the support they need, our families seeking out the support that they might need. Is there intervention and treatments, resources available, and the impact on the public safety? Hold on, let me see. Okay, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hi, blessed morning
Good morning.
or afternoon.
Morning still.
Yeah, not contemplating on the most high for blessing us with life. Mental health. Yeah,
Mhm.
mental health is a big issue in the Virgin Islands. And I get to notice it since 2016 when I started seeing people walking the street naked. And I've seen that before, but when I saw that and I called 911,
Mm. Mhm.
it's like the person trying to go walk back into prison naked. And the police then went to, I guess, that. But I driving going back to the prison area and the person walking away from the prison and the police couldn't do anything about it because of the laws to be if they commit a crime or anything, they can't really touch them, can't get no place to put
Mm. I would think that we have indecent exposure. That is a law that you break. That is a law to me. Indecent exposure, because then anybody could just be walking naked. So I think that's allowable to be, something to be arrested and then treated or whatever they have to do. But the one thing you just said, that's probably the issue, is that they have nowhere to put this individual. Seemingly, you're right. If they do arrest them, so maybe that was the real issue there. Are you there?
them. Wait, sorry, the phone there is low for some reason.
Okay, you can hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, so what I said was that I think indecent exposure is a law that you're breaking if you walk in the streets naked. I think that is a, a law. I what I feel is was a real issue was that you just said that the police didn't have somewhere to put them. So maybe that's the reason why. But yeah, I think that's indecent exposure is a breakable law.
Yeah, but it's fact that if we don't even, if we're not taking care of our own people and
Hmm.
making sure they're good in the state of the mental, then we're still failing our.
Talk in the phone because I'm not hearing you very well.
Wait, let me call that guy to ask.
Okay. All right. You can call back. Okay. Let's see. Right. So I do agree we need to work on how we take care of our people. As he takes time to call back in, if he does, I just want to elaborate on, like I said, about the number of young men I'm seeing walking our streets who appear to be mentally struggling. I'm not a doctor, of course. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just giving an observation. So I cannot say exactly what is causing it, but I cannot ignore what I'm seeing. And it's been continuous. Yesterday, I saw like 3 or 4. I'm like, I have never seen this one before by Science Farm. I just was coming up. And then I think like Mid Island, I saw one. Then in Frederickstead, I saw one. And then when I get to Christianstead, I saw another. I'm like, what is going on? So I said, personally, I begun to wonder if it may be connected to substance abuse. And maybe they're smoking something and somebody that's selling them these things is putting things in it to stretch it. You see that in the movies. And it's having an effect on our young men. I have no idea, but if I'm seeing all these young men, and I know a lot of our young men like to consume, um, like to smoke an herb, then possibly that could be an issue. That could be the source of it. Because it just seems like we're seeing more and more young people who appear to be disconnected from reality, unable to focus, talking to themselves, not functioning right, and they're too young. I just don't understand why. And if dangerous. So I think there's something that is a public health issue and it should be looked into. Um, yeah, I feel like maybe it should be rounded up, try to talk to them and see what they all may have in common that has caused them to lose their marbles. And hopefully it's temporary and not permanent. So I feel like something needs to be looked into about what is being sold, who is selling it, where it's coming from, because of course we know there's illegal stuff happening. But like now, I just think that it's maybe something that they're smoking and somebody's trying to stretch it and they're all having this effect on them. So I think that's something that should be looked into and running up these individuals. Because this isn't just about one individual I'm seeing, and then it's affecting many families, and it's just about public safety. And at the end of the day, hold on. Okay, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Yes, calling back.
Okay, you're on the
But
air.
it's not only illegal drugs, and it's also legal drugs, because at one point they was given that drug for the PS, or for the PS, whatever you call that, for kids.
Mm.
They actually were giving it to kids. And if you ever seen a child on that drug, it's like they slow everything down for the child.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, my ex-wife was separated, and for some reason, she decided that our child needed that drug. And when I went to the school just to see how the child,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even recognize my child. I swear I was talking to an AI.
Mm.
And they did that the point when they was bringing in a bunch of people from the Philippines to be teachers.
Okay.
So if your own child can't even understand your own teacher, how the country the government bringing in a bunch of people from the Philippines teaching. I ain't trying to diss anybody from the Philippines, but I saw a big rise in the drugs that were trying to push at that time to start giving young people drugs in school and saying that illegal.
Mm. I hear you on that, and yeah, that's unfortunate. Did you make a change in his? Did you make a change?
Put him in school, and the child is wonderful, doing great.
Okay, great. So you took them off the drug? Did you take them off the medication?
Yeah.
Okay.
He went off the medication. He did great. He just went into sports and he did well. Graduated. Went stateside. Been working, doing everything back and forth. Everything is good.
Great. Well, yeah, and aside from what I was speaking on, yeah, I do feel that sometimes medications are given prematurely when there's a lot of things that could be done naturally, not just with children, but just across the board. Sometimes it's fine to like start off with the medication, but not to stay on it long term. But in regards to what I'm seeing though, because you're saying about maybe illegal drug. So then my thing is like this: what is contributing to all these older? Because it's not children I'm seeing. They're like, I'm not sure of their ages, but they look like they're like in their early 20s or late teens, early 20s. Like looking at what is the common denominator.
They got them hooked on different type of drugs. It's legal. Some of them is illegal, of course.
Yeah, it just seemed like a surge. It's just happening very quickly.
Start giving young people drugs and getting cope on it rather than getting cope on God and understanding who they are.
Well, what kind of intervention can we do then? Because right now is seemingly it's getting to be a lot of them, and it's happening in this like short. It's like a surge to me. In a couple months, I've seen a lot more than usual, and they're locals. Seem like locals. I know we had an issue with people sending homeless people down, but this looks like local young men. So it has to be something happening, and I feel like they all may have the same. Like something similar happening. So that's my concern. You sound very far away. Hi. I can't hear you, so I know the listeners can't hear you. So are you speaking in the phone? Yeah, you kind of sound underwater as well at some points. But I got your drift. And is there anything else you want to say? Hopefully I could hear you. And then I'll move on to my next topic. Nope. All right. Thanks for calling and chiming into the conversation. But if you're tuning in, you're listening to I'm Making It Happen, with exception of yours, Nykole Tyson. And I'm just speaking on some observations. And hopefully, can alert some individuals to take action and assisting in these areas. I'm going to get to the other stuff that I spoke on earlier in regards to some things I've saw on the beach, and I've already been in communication with some of the departments that could give responses or some answers to those questions that I had. So thank you to those to DPNR for responding to me this morning, so I had more clarity. Okay, somebody's texting me. Is he talking about Redland for the schools? And okay. So I have a response to somebody's listening from the States, and they're asking for the caller that called in. Was he talking about Ritalin for the kids in school needing behavior management? I'm not sure. I don't think he mentioned the medication, but ultimately he took it off, got the child taken off, and they're doing well and they're excelling in school. But what I'm talking about is that I feel like since I'm seeing all of these young men, and you could drive the island and see there's so many new young men walking the street, and they're not just walking the street looking homeless, they're walking the street looking like they have a mental issue. And I think that it has to be it may be attributed to substance abuse, and they may all been using it. So I feel like somebody from health or something should round them up and interview them and find out what they were taking or what have they been taking, because I think maybe they're all related. All right, so that's one observation, and we really need to nip that in the bud quickly before it gets even worse. And if there is somebody selling something to these young men and they're probably trying to like stretch it, and it's having an effect on our young men that are consuming it, then they need to be investigated, found, and stopped. Because now this is causing a public safety issue, and it's going to be a public health issue, because then we're going to have so many people on the street. And when I travel to many of these islands, I don't see, and they're smaller than us. Let me think. I don't see homeless people. I don't see homeless people. Walking. I don't see the amount that we have here. Yeah, I don't see it. And I asked them, well, where they're, I know you have to have homeless people. Where are they? And they have them certain areas or something. I'm not sure, but they definitely are not in the public's view. And I'd be around the whole, traversing the whole area. So that's an issue that we need to combat. Now, let's see. Now I want to talk about something about public responsibility and public behavior. Now, I mentioned the man that I saw at the beach that urinated right in front of me. I'm at the Dorsch Beach, just at the road, and if he hears about it, you probably know who he talking. I am not calling no names, but if the shoe fits, let them wear it. Did it in public, and I want to know, like, this is an older person, like, what kind of behavior is that? Right? What are community standards? Men, actually, and he's not the first. That's the first one I saw right in front of me. I've seen different men when I'm driving. I saw one, I think it was at Kirstenstead. I was driving and he was right there on the side of the road. So it's not the first time I've seen it, but this is the first time it really was like alarming to me, because I was like right few yards away, a few feet away from the person. And so what is our community standards in regards to this? Respect for public spaces. Men, I'm asking you to be more, have morals in regards to that. More respect. I mean, for women, it's easier for you to relieve yourself. Women is harder. But please, even though you have that, the capacity to do that, please go and be in a private space at some point. If you want to go in the bush, whatever, on the side, but don't be doing it in public where people can see you. There needs to be a balance between accountability and understanding underlying these issues, because I feel like once you tolerate it, it just becomes worse. So like I saw this guy one time I was driving, and I saw him relieving himself on the side of the road. I was like, okay, but I was just driving by, so that's nothing. I was like, okay, I had time to think about it. But now that I do recall seeing that. Then you see around, now I'm at the beach and I'm seeing this, and I was with somebody else, and we're just both alarmed. And it was, what I'm saying? These are things that we have to, that again, our elders, our older people, and elders does not mean you're old, but if you're older, so you could be in your 20s, if somebody's 25, if somebody's 30, you still are elder to them than. You should show some kind of example And I think we feel like that's what we're getting away from, people setting examples or maintaining morals. So that's another thing. And this is something that, okay, these are images that we present to residents. I mean, not residents, to visitors that may see that. But I think that's also, again, a public an issue, because if there was young kids around, if other, it's just like, what example are you setting? That's just not a good example. Then our young men feel that that's something they can do. This is an older person. So again, I just ask that our men just have more respect and decency when doing those kind of things. My other issue was animal welfare. Not really animal welfare, but animal matters. In regards to this camper that's on the beach in West, they have dogs tied to a tree, and they're lunging. And is that okay for that to happen? I'm gonna look more into it, because I feel that that's a public safety issue. Yeah, and so those are a couple of things that I wanted to share that I'm seeing, and hopefully that these things can be addressed. One of them, I think, overall, is the young men. I think that's something that should be easy to do, to find out if they all are consuming something that's contributing to their mental issues. And then the other things are, are having decency, indecent. Like we were just talking about the guy that called in about indecent exposure, being a crime. I believe that is something. If you're just indecent exposure, if men are, not all men, because I know it's not all men, but I've seen it more happening more. Men, guys, you relieving yourself in public. I think that's inappropriate, and I would hope that we can do better in that area. And then in regards to individuals who are purchasing or have purchased, and I will have a conversation more about this soon, but if they purchase beach property, that there should be, or is there some kind of limits to the boundaries in regards to how they are trying to protect their property, pertaining to like dogs being on the beach and tied, and then also not picking up the waste on the beach, if that's an issue. So it's a couple things, and we need to make sure we are staying on top of these things, because you don't want to be on the beach and you just have dog poop. That's what I've been seeing as well. Okay. You're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, big up yourself, Nykole. Good morning.
Good morning.
You ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is not a mental institution part of the infrastructure?
Is what?
It's not a mental institution. It's part of the infrastructure.
Mental institution?
Yeah.
You're asking if it should be part of the infrastructure?
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, we should have mental facilities, mental health facilities to assist individuals.
Part of the infrastructure, of course. Then why does the government has not a mental institution? I mean, I know every government that I know have a mental institution for the citizens who need that service,
Mm-hmm.
So why is it the Virgin does not have one?
I know I have no idea. I can't answer that, but I do know that when I was at the health department, they were looking into an adequate location. I think they had identified a place. I'm not sure what happened with that, but I do know they do address. I do know they do address the mental health. Not a facility itself. I'm not sure. However, speaking on that, yes, we can have a mental health facility, and I really feel that we do need that. And I know individuals that are in that field in the States, and it's like a revolving door. People can come stay. Sometimes you just need a few days. Sometimes it's just a day. Maybe it's a more long term. But my issue right now that I'm talking about is that what we're seeing is a surge of young men, and there's something happening where they all are, affected. Something's happening right now. So, I mean, with a facility or not, I feel like that should be addressed. And I do agree, we do need something to address it.
Not to cut you off, but this problem been around for a long time. It's not just now. because he serve the mental guys then from St. Thomas, but I just send them over here. So sometimes you see some of these guys from the street and you may think, well, they're from here, but they're from St. Thomas. You know?
Okay.
But I definitely think that the government should look into a mental institution because the service is needed. I mean, said they build a new clinic here in Richmond there. I mean, they could have built a mental institution right there on the same property one time.
Okay.
You know?
Well, they're still building, so that's an option. That's something that's still can be done because they haven't finished, and I don't think they've really started. I know they've demolished it. So, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Definitely. I mean, this is something needed, you know what I mean? I have not seen no other places where there's such a need for such institution and the government just keep ignoring it, you know?
Where are you originally from? I hear your accent.
Well, I was born here but grew up in Wadadley.
In where?
Wadadley.
Wadadley, where's that?
Antigua.
Oh, Antigua. Okay. Because I know of somebody named Wadadley. Okay, so what did they do in Antigua? I've never been to Antigua. That's one place I need to go.
Well, Antigua do have a mental institution.
They don't or they do?
They do.
Okay.
They do. And it's a well-kept, well-run institution, you know? That's why I'm wondering how it is, the Virgin Islands, United States territory, and there is no such institution. What is going on? And I know if this government asks the federal government to help to build this institution, they will do. So why is it not happening? You know what I mean? It seems like nobody cares.
I don't think it's the fact that people don't care. I think you just need to make it a priority. And there's so many different things they're handling. So we just bring it on their radar today, right? And again, I do agree that's something on a larger scale we need to get done post haste. And right now, the immediate thing that we can do is find out what's happening with these young men. So I do agree with the mental health institution. That is something for years that has been in conversation. And but right now, I feel like there should be a conversation or find out what's happening with these young men, because I'm not sure if you've observed it for yourself, the increase of our young men in the on the streets.
I've seen it.
Right. So something is going on. So I think that maybe they should round them up and find out what's the common denominator. Something is going on, and it's been in a short period of time that it's increasing.
Yeah, and there's another thing. I mean, this vaccine that many people took is causing a lot of havoc in the earth in terms of health and it says mental health. And nobody wants to look into these things, you know. But the vaccine, I mean, even outside of mental health, there's a lot of people just jumping down all over the world, you know. And it is because of the vaccine, because it was said even before they asked people to take the vaccine that within a few years, it would have caused this problem, you know? And nobody seems to want to address, the vaccine aspect of it, but, from my standpoint, I'm seeing it as a part of the problem too.
I can't speak on that one.
Nonetheless, I hope that one of these senators or himself governors who's running this year will look into the problem and see what they can do, you know?
You know what? I do agree. Let me ask you this. Since I have you and you're a man, male, 2 males, ladies, call in. I like the men being involved and having these discussions because, a lot of times people like say overall, oh, men don't be involved in this and don't communicate. Our men, I could say you do communicate. So I appreciate you for calling in and listening and expressing yourself. So I want you to answer Mike a question separate to like this mental health issue. So did you hear me talking about the man that I saw urinating in the public at the beach?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that is against the law, as you say, indecent exposure, you know. But then again, that man could himself be a mental person, you know.
He looked normal though. He looks normal, but it's true. But no, I seen him a couple of times since I've been at the beach. He hasn't done it since. But because I did stare. Cause I was like, look, I'm not turning away. You're in public, so obviously you want somebody to watch. So so maybe that would.
It could have been different factors. Maybe he just had to relieve himself right away. And that was the only option.
He just came out the water.
Yeah?
No, I think he just feel like he could just do that because he just came out the water.
Okay.
And it had the bush right there. He could have gone on the side, or he could have gone the other side of his car.
Maybe looking at some attention. I don't know.
Like I said, you want to do it in public, and I stared, and there's another individual there that was a male, and they stared too. Like, what is going on? So yeah, I appreciate to hear from you, but I do hear.
All in all, it is wrong.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for your call. Thanks for tuning in. All right. So let's see. I see there's a comment here. It says, Blessed Wednesday. I agree with the young man. This is an injustice to our community. Mental individuals, both male and female, are residing in our streets. Even Stevie Wonder can see what is going on. Says, this person says, Nykole, you have been passive in answering his question. This is imperative. The use of drugs or an imbalance. What question was I passive with? Nykole, you have been passive in answering his question. Please state what question I was passive in, because I will definitely, I don't think I was passive. So please restate or tell me what question I was passive in answering, because I'm not sure what question I was passive in. Okay, and then I'll revisit it and answer it directly. I have no problems doing that. So thanks so much for tuning in. You're listening to I'm Making It Happen with exception to yours, Nykole Tyson. Today I'm just been expressing my observations and of what I've been seeing and one of your inputs, right? Because it's all of us that makes the Virgin Islands. It's all of us that makes St. Croix. It is not a couple people. And I say that all the time. I've been saying, will continue to say it. St. Croix isn't St. Croix without the people. People will say, oh, the island is this and the island is no, the island is not. The island is the island, and the island is great. With the people now, the island is a certain place, a certain way, a certain experience. And so I definitely wanted your input. We're going to take a break. When we get back, time flies when you're having fun. We will be closing in a bit. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Okay, welcome back. Listening to I'm Making It Happen with exception yours, Nykole Tyson. And if you were with me before the break, then you'll know that we're talking about, just public issues, things I've been observing in the community. At first glance, you may see maybe these things are unrelated. I think all of them are connected. The young man struggling on the young men that we see struggling on the street, really, really encouraged that something happens and they're all spoken to and seen if they are consuming something that's causing this, because that's the only thing I could think of in such a short period of time and seeing so many young men. And then the public behavior, right? That diminishes our community standards. Men being more responsible of how you relieve yourself in public. It might sound like, what, Nykole, trivial? No, it's not trivial. Okay, the dog being tied on a tree at the beach, and being able to lunge out because that person owns the property. I think that's still a public safety issue. Needs to be addressed. I mean, at first glance, it may seem unrelated, but it all comes back to responsibility. And even if somebody has jurisdiction or the right to do something, doesn't mean you should just do it, right? Or we need to have responsibility to ourselves, responsibility to each other, responsibility to our community. We are all setting a standard. And the Virgin Islands is beautiful. Like I said, we have the beautiful beaches, talented people, rich culture. We have it all. We just need to see that, embrace it. But loving our community means being willing to discuss these issues and concerns and come together to find solutions. And it doesn't always have to be in a department, because I don't think anything, let me think, mental department. I think the first one with the health, the mental health definitely needs different departments. But like the guy urinating, that's not a department. That's public. That's personal responsibility, right? So a lot of things is not always departments. Yeah, departments can help and add infrastructure and enforce things, but it's us that we need to make sure that we are in line and upholding our community. All right, and then let's see. Yeah, and so that's basically it for today. Oh, one thing I want to mention, please, 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 it's summertime, and we know the men, our people, our young men, love their horses, right? I'm a advocate for the horse racing, coming back, all of that kind of stuff. But please protect and take care of your horses. I'm seeing a lot of horses just tied up and they're in the sun with no shade. Please do put them in the shade. And for I have animals, I have dogs, and when I have them out in the yard, they always go under a tree. They don't ever stay in the yard in the sun for too long. And you leave them out, they can have a heat stroke. So please do be mindful about that. So today's show was with Nykole Tyson on I'm Making It Happen. We'll be back again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Strong communities are not measured simply by the beauty of our beaches, but how we care for each other, our people, our animals, and our public spaces. So I hope to have had an impact on you today, and just be mindful of how you are, hold on, how you operate in our spaces in the territory, not just tinkering. Oh, I'm reminding you. Oh, I didn't get to mention so many things. So, St. Thomas, you're coming up with the public impact fund summit happening on Saturday in St. Thomas at the Innovative Center. It was amazing on St. Croix. The Community Impact Fund Summit was amazing. I went to it on Saturday. I was there the whole day. I didn't expect to be there all day, but it was a lot of great information, a lot of great networking. Make sure you attend, if you're in St. Thomas, attend that event in St. Thomas. It's going to definitely worth your while. Also, I attended the WAPA's first annual inaugural event that they had for their linemen and their employees at the agriculture fair on last Friday. It was very informative as well. I learned a lot. It was a great time, and they brought individuals over from St. Thomas and St. John, and there was a lot of education around, how the linemen operate and how they function, in addition to other things. So it was a great event. They'll be having another one. I think it's going to be hosted in St. Thomas next time. And then also we have someone that left the territory. Her name is KK. I will have her there. She's expected or anticipated to be the next Aliyah Boston. She was accepted into a prep school from I think 10th to 12th grade. It's a camp, and she left last week. No, she left on Sunday, and so you'll be speaking more about her. She left. She's goes to what she used to go to Central, and now she'll be going to school on in New England, and expanding on and building on her basketball career. So we'll learn more in the future about her, but stay tuned for KK. I'll mention her full real name next time. But thanks so much for tuning in with me on I'm Making It Happen. With exception of yours, Nykole Tyson. We'll connect again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. As always, if nobody told you today, you can make it happen. If you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines, and remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.